Sashi Fuki Jukshin Vira Sange
Shindu Mikte
Shite Uwargi Shokun Namdak Shingla Trupar Sho Iram Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami Sange Chudang Tsoki Chokam Jangchu Bardu Daki Jenyen Kipe Sunam Jola Penchir Sange Sange Chudang Tsoki Chokam Jangchu Bardu Daki Katsuchi Daki Jenyen Kipe Sunam Jola Penchir Sange Chudang Soki Chokam Jangchu Bardu Daki Katsuchi Daki Jenyen Kipe Sunam Jola Penchir
Yay! Thanks, Kelly McGee. Other students, I don't know. Sorry, I left the live on. I forgot to put on mute. We started to get that like row your boat thing going. Sashi, Sashi. Okay. Class 3 quiz. Let's do it. I already did my quiz. It was fun. If you know Madhyamika, this part of the class is not hard. If you don't, oi. All right. Is that too small? Guess not. No one said anything. Okay. Good luck. Have fun. ¿Terminaste? Sí, arriba.
Hello, hello. Thank you, Word.
Sí. Aldo, I already did that.
Thank you, Word.
Yep. Okay. All right, let's do this thing. We are on class 4. Okay. Okay, everyone. So we are in. Wait, what book are we studying? Any language.
Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life.
Boom, English. Very good. Who knows it in Sanskrit?
Bodhisattva Charya Vatara.
Wow. Good. And then Tibetan? How do you say Bodhi?
Jan Shub.
Yeah, Bodhicitta. So I guess it's no, it's Bodhisattva, excuse me. So they say Jongsem, which is just an abbreviation. Jongsem Chupa La Jukpa. It's a direct translation of the Sanskrit. Entering the Bodhisattva's activities. All right. Okay. These classes are great because I don't have to study as much because they're all Madhyamika. So I'm like, finally, middle way, pure emptiness. But we're going to be back to the mind-only school soon. So enjoying it while it lasts. All right, here we go. All right, any questions before we start? Nothing? When people don't have questions, is it a really good sign or a really bad sign? All right, here we go. If you have a question, you can ask it later. Question 1, class 4. So yeah, we're in chapter 9 of the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. So this is the review of course 12. And course 12 is all about chapter 9. What is chapter 9 about?
Emptiness.
Yeah. What's chapter 10 about?
Meditation.
Dedication.
Yeah, Diego and Aldo said it. Okay, good. Very famous chapter on dedication. And it's the reason they say that there's no chapter on giving. Because Master Shantideva goes through all of the 6 perfections, but he skips giving. The chapter on dedication is supposed to be the chapter on giving. And when he floated away in the monastery, in the Lendra, when he taught it, that was the argument. Was there a chapter 10? Because when he started teaching wisdom is when he started floating away. And so only the clairvoyant people could kind of hear chapter 10, but they weren't sure. All right. That's the story. At this point in the text, Master Shantideva moves from a major discussion of one kind of emptiness to another. The distinction between the two is the answer to a natural question raised in our minds when we begin to examine the emptiness of any object, especially our own selves. State the question and describe briefly the two kinds of emptiness. So, this is the question some intelligent student always eventually asks when you give them the pen. Enough times, someone will always ask this question. What's the question? If I'm talking about the pen and I tell you it's empty, chew toy to a dog, a stick of bliss to a tantric deity, and a pen to you, if you're human, what's the natural question after you got that?
What's with the parts of the pen?
Yeah, exactly. And let me encourage you all to extrapolate, okay? For some reason, I have the karma to not see students extrapolating very often, which means when you contemplate the teaching, just take it to the next logical step on your own. A, you'll learn more because you'll figure it out on your own. B, you'll save the teacher some time to answer questions that they already answered if you had only extrapolated. Okay? When you get things on your own, they're much deeper for you than when someone tells you the answer. Okay? The second one is good if you can't figure it out. But if you try to figure it out, it's even better. All right. So yes, the raw data. What about the parts of the pen? What about pointy and smooth and white, if it's a white pen? I'm thinking of like a Bic. When I think pen, I just see those Bic pens. You know, the plastic one with the plastic cap and the, you know, like the ballpoint ones. I don't know, that's the ones I used in high school. Usually a blue one, blue or black. That's what pen is in my head. So yeah, what about the parts? What about those parts? First of all, Kelly McGee.
Yes.
You ready for this again? Number
Yeah.
3, we had this debate 2 times already, but we should have it. Why do we have to talk about the parts of a thing when we're discussing what a thing is? Couple right answers. Anyone can answer. Kelly McGee's gonna get debated, but you can answer too, Kelly McGee.
Because we have a natural tendency to want to define an object as like the combination of its parts.
Right. Which, does that not make sense?
If you're not taking an emptiness perspective, it sort of like rationally makes sense. We have a
Wait.
tendency to think that that's what it is. Rationally is not the right word.
No, I get you, but okay, now you already lost the debate by that comment. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so are things not their parts, both not their parts and their parts, or neither not their parts and their parts?
They're both, but we also need the mental image we project.
Whoa. They're both? Number 3? They're both their parts and not their parts at the same time?
Oh, that's not the whole story.
So you're Kelly McGee and Alex Rivas at the same time. You're both the parts that make up you and the parts that don't make up you at the same time.
It depends on my mental projection.
There's nothing that's its parts and not its parts. That's a throwaway one. Come on, that's supposed to be easy.
It's both parts and the whole of the parts. Right?
That's not B. That's not C. C is saying, is it its parts and nothing related to the object at the same time?
No.
Yeah, that's what C is saying. It makes no sense at all. And then D is saying, is it nothing related to the object whatsoever and not its parts?
No, it's not that either.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense either. Is it not its parts at all?
No.
If it's not its parts, it can't be C automatically, by the way, because that includes its parts. It includes not its parts, okay? So if you don't agree with A, you can't agree with C. You
Okay.
could agree with D, but that doesn't make sense either. It always has to be B, no matter what.
What was B?
It's the parts.
Okay.
But you just said before the debate started, your proposition was, if you were rational, you would know that it's not its parts. So what you're telling me, Kelly, now here comes the debate. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
So a thing is its parts. Or not its parts. I mean, which way do you want to go? I mean, one's a dead end anyway.
It is its parts.
Yeah, things are its parts, right?
Yeah, but that's not the whole story.
That's not how we debate here. Is it? It's chess. You just trap me in a corner and then you win, right? That's all you need to do. And then when you're the debate starter, then you do the opposite to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, quick question then. So, are you made up of body and mind?
Yes.
Yeah. If you had no body and no mind, how much Kelly McGee would there be left?
I don't know. Half.
Exactly zero.
There'd be none.
Exactly zero.
Yeah, you need both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you your parts?
Yes.
Yeah. Without those parts, you wouldn't exist.
True.
Right? Okay. Okay, now we're going to skip to the punchline. Kelly McGee's going to explain it, okay? For the third time, because she's going to become a master of Madhyamika. All right?
Uh-huh.
Why aren't you just those parts? Why does Arya Nagarjuna say, because this is Arya Nagarjuna, right? Who's the father of Madhyamika, the innovator who synthesized and called something Madhyamika after Lord Buddha had taught it 700 years before. Why does Arya Nagarjuna say no to B? He says you're not your parts. Why would he say something like that? And how are you're actually your parts?
I don't know how he says it, but
No, he says it how Geshe Michael says it, which is how I say it, which is how we taught you.
okay.
So you say it.
That I am what I define as my parts based off of a mental image I project upon them.
You gotta make it. You gotta say it like this. You ready?
Uh-huh.
We're on course 18, so now I'm going to teach you how to teach. You ready?
Uh-huh.
You are your parts if you include the part, which is the image coming out of your seeds.
Okay.
That is the part. If you don't include that part, you're not your parts. So why would Arya and Nagarjuna, knowing that, say you're not your parts?
When including the mental image as a part. Or
No.
would say
No.
you're not your parts because that part is not included.
Why wouldn't it be included if he knows that that's a part?
I don't know.
Because no one includes that part ever. Who thinks of that when they're including parts?
Uh-huh.
No one.
Okay.
If people included that part, we wouldn't need Ari Nagarjuna. And I would be on the beach right now. Ugh, okay. Anyway, instead I got snowed in. All right. Here we go. Very good, Kelly McGee. When we understand that we are only a concept, right? Concept, image, both valid here, imposed on a collection of parts by force of our past karma. It's very important you include forced. We begin to wonder whether the raw data itself is also a concept imposed on its parts, right? Here's the Tibetan. Kansaki Dakshi Yang Takyu Yinam. Yinam, is it the case that the Kansak, the individual, is also the individual who is the basis by which the parts are applied? Is it true that those parts are also empty or also exist? That is, we begin to draw the distinction between the emptiness of us, Kansaki Dakme, myself, a self, myself that is no self, the individual that has no self, and the emptiness, of our parts, Shukidakme. Now, this is very important. Why is this? Here's it in Tibetan. Maybe Leah knows. Why is this true important? What does true usually mean? I'll make it easier. It means two things. Yeah, very famously. So Aldo said the one, which is not the answer in this case. What is the other thing chu means? It means it in Sanskrit too. Close reverse, that's chu. It's different spelling. M-C-H-O-D, mao, chanaro, cho, ta, chu. This is chu. It's not chu, which is water. It's not chu, which is the cut. It's chu. It means things. Like dharmas are just things. Like all the things in the world are all the dharmas in the world. Okay, chu means a thing. So when people see, like say you do not have Madhyamika training, and you see Chukidakme, what could you translate it as? Dakme meaning selfless. What could you incorrectly translate this as?
Like that I don't exist.
No, the emptiness of things. But it's not just random things. Yeah, that stuff's empty too. We're not disputing that. But when we say things, we're talking about parts, our parts, specifically. What is the emptiness, understanding the emptiness of us and the emptiness of parts, the cure for?
Pain.
Yeah, most famously in the
Wheel of Life.
Yay! This is the thing where Buddha says you need to understand to get out of all suffering. Right? That's why he's standing outside the wheel. All the stuff's going on and he's outside like, hey guys. Okay? Arhats aren't in the wheel. And Buddhas are a type of arhat. Okay? All right. Cool. And here's the question. Hanzaki dakshi yang takyu. This tak means to impute, like put, like the image comes out and talks on the dak, on the dakshi, on the foundation of the talking. You talk on the dakshi. Shi means foundation. Okay. All right. That's some Tibetan for you. Okay, number 2. When you focus upon the whole, such as the body, why do the parts or raw data, such as colors and shapes of the body, seem to exist out there really independently on their own? This is an amazing question. Amazing. And there's a famous Tibetan phrase you should all learn. I'll teach you one by one because I don't like the cacophony that happens. And Rivas has to teach all the Spanish speakers because they can't hear, they can't be vocalized. Okay. Okay, Kalamigi first. You ready?
Yes.
Say matak.
Matak.
Matak. Tak.
Oh, are we reading this thing at the bottom?
You're not reading anything. You're listening to me and doing what I say. Say matak.
Matak.
Tak.
Tak.
Yeah, good. Matak. Machepa.
Matak. Machepa.
Nice. Matak machepa.
Matak. Machepa.
Good. Not tak. Tak means to get tied up with ropes. Okay. Tak means to not have a idea about or something like that. To not realize, to not understand or something. Okay, good. Leah, you ready?
Ready.
Say matak
Matak,
machepa.
machepa,
Machepa.
machepa,
Okay, matak machepa.
matak pachepa.
Okay, good. Yeah, it means to not examine it, not to question it or something. Tracy Wong,
Yes, teacher.
你想不想学中文？
想
Okay, matak
mata
machepa.
machepa
Matak machepa. Pa.
mata machepa.
Good, yay. 非常棒. Okay,
谢
it
老
means
师。
yeah, Bukichi. Who else? I don't know who else. Aldo, you can go, right?
Okay.
Say matak machepa.
Matak machepa.
Good, I like your tak. Okay, perfect. Diego?
Matak machepa.
Perfect. Good. Jules? She's hiding. Fine. I think Bertha's on the Spanish channel. You guys get the idea. Anyway, this means to not realize and not examine. What's the most famous example of the thing you should take as matak machepa? Maybe Aldo knows. It's the Buddha's bowl. Is the Buddha's bowl his bowl? That's what they asked. I mean, Kalamigi, is the Buddha's bowl his bowl?
Probably.
I mean, it's the Buddha's bowl. I mean, by definition.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with him about it.
Exactly. But we say matak machepa. If you don't question it, yeah. Is your shirt, how about this? Is the shirt you're wearing your shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your shirt. This is my shirt. I'm wearing it. Well, this is my shirt. It's not a big deal. Okay, if you start talking about emptiness, most people want to go matak machepa. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, my car drives. I gotta go to work. Matak machepa. Bye. Right? That's what it's saying. Okay. So when you focus on the parts, when you focus on the pen, is it empty or not? Okay. Is it self-existently real or not. What happens with the parts is you're not examining them. They're matak machepa. They're unexamined. But then if you switch your focus from the pen to the parts of the pen, then whatever part you're placing your mind on, whatever place you're placing your mind on, becomes examined, which is chepa. It becomes tak dang chepa. Looked at, figured out and examined. Okay, questioned and examined. I don't know. So that's what Holy Geshe Michael's talking about. Because at this level, we are only perceiving these parts with a conventional or deceptive perception without examining their real nature. Right? Which is fine. Your car drives. I mean, until it doesn't. Then you say, why me? You should have asked when I tried to explain emptiness to you. Okay. It's true though. Don't wait till you die to think about this stuff. It's too late. Especially if you're old. You can't think straight, probably. You can't sit up to meditate, probably. And you're more worried about your medical bills. 3, what do we call the process of going down in levels through the parts? And the parts of the parts and so on as a method to establish that things are actually empty. Specific name for this, but anyway, whoops. Yeah. I think this is the thing that scientists want to actually do. I think this is what happened in the Renaissance, right? Or the Enlightenment, they call it. I think that's a good name for it. Was that people were figuring out stuff mainly through thought. I mean, I didn't think about this myself. I didn't think of this myself. I was listening to Professor Noam Chomsky, and he was talking about this, and I was like, whoa. Because if you think about it, like, for instance, the fact that Earth revolves around the sun, right? Who came first, Copernicus or Galileo? We'll just say Galileo. So when Galileo was talking about that, he had to do all that in his mind. He didn't go to the sun and be like, oh yeah, there's Mercury. Oh, okay. That's all thought-based, right? So like, maybe the greatest parts of science. Do you know what science means, actually? It means to know, right? That C, like SCI, it's like the same in conscience, like when you did something bad, or conscious, like consciousness, like awareness or knowing, right? Ooh, you want to hear something cool? You don't, I'm going to tell you anyway. The word nice, the CE means to know, and the NI means not. It actually is an old world, which means someone who's like ignorant or like dumb or something. Like, oh, they're nice. It was like a negative word. Like, you don't know. Anyway, no one cares. Anyway, so if eventually, if you keep examining something, I mean, what will happen? Okay, Kalamigi, if you examine a pen, right?
Mhm.
So the parts you matak machepa, you don't examine. Then you examine the parts. So name a part.
The ink.
Okay, fine. So you start talking about the ink. So how would you examine the parts of the ink? There's a couple ways, but name one.
And maybe want to like figure out what the ink is made of.
The emptiness of it. How would you examine the emptiness of it?
How would I examine the emptiness of it?
Yeah. I mean, right now we're talking about the parts. So you would say, well, I mean, the ink must have, I mean, it's in that little tube in the middle, right?
Yeah. And think about
Yeah.
like the different nature it has or appears to have.
Right. Exactly. So does the ink in the tube have a left side and a right side?
Hmm.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to. I mean, if it's a thing, if it's a a dharma, if it's a thing, it has to have a. What would happen if it didn't have a left side and a right side?
Hmm. I don't know. It wouldn't exist.
Exactly. No, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it has no width or breadth or length, then it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So if you can prove that something with parts is automatically empty, then you have proven that anything that exists has to be empty.
Mhm.
Which is why Lord Buddha and Arya Nagarjuna, Jason Kappa, Geshe Michael talk about this. Because it's, yeah. Because what, I mean, once you get down to raw data, you no longer say that's the pen cap and the, no, it's just the left side of the atom and the right side of the atom. Right? If it has parts, if something has parts, it must be empty. And by the way, if something has parts, it can, even science says you cannot look at the left part and the right part of something simultaneously. Your eye has to move from left to right. So you're never witnessing a whole object. So what you call an atom, if you're looking at it in an electron microscope or something, right, has to be something that your mind interprets as an atom. Because you can never actually see a whole atom by definition. So says the modern neuroscientist, so says Rene Descartes, so says Arya Nagarjuna, so says Lord Buddha, etc. So what happens if you keep examining parts and parts and parts of parts and parts of parts and parts of parts?
You find nothing.
Yeah, you just find more stuff that's empty, right? How many parts are there?
Infinite.
Exactly. And I think that's what Hermes Trismegistus, pronouncing that wrong, meant when he said, as above, so below, right? No matter how far down you go, it's empty. Okay, when we look for self-existent raw data, that is the object that we projected on, we don't find anything, and thereby establish in yet another way the truth of emptiness. How many ways to prove emptiness do bodhisattvas want to know?
Million.
The correct answer is a zillion. Yeah, who said that, by the way?
Arya Nagarjuna.
Master Chandrakirti. Mhm. As far as I know, Arya Nagarjuna probably said it too. Okay. 4, what do we tend to think of as the ultimate raw data? Is it data or data? I don't know. Wait, isn't data plural? Datum is the singular. For each of the 2 great divisions of a person. Okay, so again, Master Shantideva he's not only a perfect teacher, perfect meditator, perfect bodhisattva, but he's a perfect author. He teaches you things that automatically, if you apply them, everything makes sense. Okay? the things he teaches are universal in my view. What I know of his text, I doubt he varies from this. So based on what I know, so when he teaches you, so why is he teaching us the great divisions of a person as far as raw data? Why are we talking about raw data at all? Come on.
It gets us prepared for the mind-only school.
What? We don't need to prepare. We need to unprepare. Vice versa. If the raw data is empty as well, then what school was incorrect?
The mind-only school.
Right, but it's more specifically the lower middle way. Because the lower middle way believes what? Things depend on their
Parts.
exactly. Who said that?
Kelly.
Perfect. Yeah. Things depend on their parts. So, and why is it important? Why is it important that Lord Buddha taught the lower middle way? That things depend on their parts. Bodhisattva vow number 11.
You can't teach somebody emptiness before they're ready.
Yeah, if you start teaching somebody who's not ready that nothing exists, I've seen people kind of freak out a little bit. They're like, what? The raw data too? Oh my God. Ah! They kind of freak. It's like, no. The parts are real. Yeah. Now, does that make any sense at all? No. But if you're not ready, it's like telling kids about Santa Claus, okay? You're going to squeeze like 9 years out of a good time out of this thing. All right, 10, maybe 11. Cool. It's worth it. Then they're like, okay, no Santa Claus. All right, fine. No tooth fairy. Wait, Mexicans don't have tooth fairy. They have raton Perez. Don't you? Isn't it like a giant rat that comes and takes your tooth? Rivas? Yaha! Raton Perez. That's what I heard. Anyway, I have it on good authority from a couple 9-year-olds. Anyway, so it's important when that we talk about what people really consider raw data. First of all, because it's where the mind naturally goes, a la question number 1, and it's the thing being refuted by the school just below this. Because if this school didn't refute that, there would be no higher middle way. The higher middle way is basically defined by the things that it's refuting in the lower middle way, right? Come on, we did that lower middle way stuff in mind only class. Okay. So what are those two things? Very famously, the atoms at any given moment make up what we call our physical bodies. Okay? And the stream of present moments of awareness that over a lifetime make up what we call our minds. Right? And we went over this. Was that last class? Yeah, last class we did I don't think I did the duration part justice for the moments. Maybe I'll do it again. Sometimes it slips. Okay. So let's do atoms. Aldo's going to teach us because Aldo's a very good ACI teacher. You want to do why atoms are empty, Aldo?
Okay.
Teach us, please.
Um,
Why are atoms empty?
if you if you try to find the parts of atoms, you won't find them.
That's true.
Yeah.
So it
So-
must be the case.
Mhm.
So it must be the case that what?
That they're a projection.
Yeah. Has anyone ever seen a whole atom?
No.
Yeah, no matter how small something is it possible to see all of it?
No, only parts of it.
Yeah, right. Okay, great. Now, thank you, Aldo. Now the stream of present moments of awareness that over a lifetime make up what we call our minds. Here, I'll do it again because last time I fudged a little bit. So there's two ways to consider time. Okay, we can consider time as like a string of moments, or you can think of time as a flow. Okay, I'm gonna have Kelly McGee say things so I feel better about talking into this echo chamber. You just say yes, you're gonna be like, okay, that's all, Kelly McGee, that's your job.
Okay, can you just say more what you mean by about flow?
Okay, yeah. So you understand moments, like now's the present moment, then there's another present moment, another present moment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, flow means it begins, has a middle, and has an end. Flow,
Oh, okay.
right?
Mhm.
Okay. So we have to pick one. So we'll pick the moments first. So if things are a series of moments, what we're saying is each one of those moments is an individual moment, right? Okay. But if it's an individual moment, then by definition, those moments cannot touch.
Okay.
It has to be the case because that's what you're saying. It's a moment. So therefore, you could not have, time wouldn't happen because you could never leave any given moment because they would never touch the next moment to have another moment.
Right. Where does,
Right?
where does one end and the next one begins?
Yeah. Right. Well, how does the next one begin? With
Okay.
yeah. Because it's not a duration. So how does one happen at all? That's the thing. A moment implies there's a stillness and there's no happening.
Right. Mhm.
Right? While a duration implies happening.
Mhm.
Correct?
Mhm.
Okay. But if something is always happening, because how often do things change?
Constantly.
Right. So a changing thing changes infinitely, right?
Yes.
So that means if something was changing infinitely, there would be infinite amounts of change within any given change.
Mhm.
Right. So therefore, how could you ever leave a moment? How could anything happen because it was always happening? The duration would constantly durate. That's a word, I think it is. Right? Does that make sense, Kelly McGee?
Yeah. I'm wondering how Rivas translated your made up word.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's also back to just like there's infinitesimal parts to every moment.
Exactly. If it has parts, they're infinitesimal. So how it can never perform the function you think it performs. So it's impossible that the reason the function gets performed is due to the parts.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for instance,
What do those words translate to?
oh, okay. This is flow. This is gyun. Shepe, consciousness of, right? Here's agikui. It's a Y. It's a Y here. Kechik. Kechikma. Kechikma is an instant. Kechikma, 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 kechikma. Here's another agikui of. So the stream of instances of consciousness. or of mind. I don't know. And this is suk, which means form, physical form. Ki, this is of. Okay. Tokpa is a collection. Okay, like tok. You know what tok is. Tokpe of. Tul. Tul. Tul is atoms. Dultra. Dultra is an atom. And Rab is like supreme. Like the ultimate atom. Yeah. So
Like the
things
ultimate-
are
The ultimate small point.
exactly. The most smallest.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
The atom, right? Indivisible. Good question. Why don't either of these two kinds of raw data exist? Oh, we just did this. I jumped the gun. What we imagine as the most basic building blocks of all physical matter, atoms, are only a projection onto smaller parts, each side of the atom, and so on endlessly. Good. What we imagine as the most basic unit of awareness, the present moment, is only a projection onto its start, its duration, and its end, and so on endlessly. Okay? It's really cool if you think about edges. Like, did you ever think of this thing? How does your mind know where one thing starts and one thing stops? I don't know. I think before I studied Buddhism, I thought about that one. I can't remember when I first thought of it, but like if you look at something, actually, Noam Chomsky coined this term called the poverty of stimulus. And it's about language. And it's about, wait 1 second. My current roommate studies linguistics, so I asked her if she knows about the poverty of stimulus. So the poverty of stimulus is this notion. Noam Chomsky is the father of modern linguistics, by the way, if you're wondering why am I talking about this gentleman. And he says there isn't enough information for a baby to be able to discern what is a word and what is not. There's never enough info. So how does a baby ever learn language? I did think of that when I was young. I was thinking about pets. I'm like, wait, how does a pet, well, first I was thinking about pets. It's like, how does a pet ever learn its name? And then I was like, wait, how did I learn my name? And I was like, wait, how did I ever learn any word ever? If you think about it, it's impossible. It's impossible to learn language. And because they don't have an Arya Nagarjuna, the linguists are arguing about this for centuries. How can you learn language? And there's the school that Noam Chomsky's from is called the School of Universal Grammar. Like built into us is a part of our minds that make it possible to learn language, which makes total sense. But they don't know about seeds, so they're like, they can't prove anything. It's like, so there's huge debates, basically between the empiricists and the other ones, the opposite of empiricism. Okay, 6. Oh yeah, how can you tell where one thing ends and one thing starts? You can't. It's actually impossible. I mean, you can, but how does your mind do it? Just think about it. It's freaky. What really then provides the raw that of all existence for every level of mental or physical objects. Projections forced upon us by our past karma at every level. Okay? What's the best way to say this? One word.
Seeds.
Say it. When we say, I had someone get really mad at me once. Well, I had someone get really mad at me a lot of times. But we were talking about this. Aldo was there. Aldo didn't get mad, but someone else did. They were talking about something, and I was like, "Seeds." I mean, that's why they're very mad. They're mad because I got angry at other people in the past. But anyway, it's true. It's really the answer always. I mean, you should listen to people. Don't say seeds unless you're in course 18 or something. Okay. 7. Are things therefore less real? How can this be confirmed? Yeah, this is Geshe Michael's most famous example. Geshe was taught all this stuff in New York, right? A lot of it he taught in the village. Well, some of it he taught in what's that neighborhood that Daredevil's from? You know.
Ooh, Philippe Petit.
Oh, Hell's Kitchen. Hell's Kitchen. Hell's Kitchen is where Geshe. I think that's where the first ACI classes were. Yeah, Hell's Kitchen. Daredevil's from there. Matt Murdock. Come on, y'all. You need to watch more Netflix. Okay. So there's a famous thing that happens to people who learn about emptiness, and you got to be careful of it. So when you talk about emptiness, do not say this. Okay, do not say this. Do not say this. Even though things are empty, they're real. Why shouldn't we say that? Why is that weak? Why is that true-ish but weak?
Because it's really that because they're empty, they're real.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you should say. So why is even though misleading or weak or a little off?
It makes it sound like you don't need one for the other to be true.
That's true. I would put it like this. It makes it it makes it seem like it's actually edging towards nihilism is what's happening. Because you think because things are empty, they don't exist. But that's not what. So therefore, even though they're empty, even though they don't have the existence that we told you they have, they still exist.
Yeah, it feels like an exception or something. Like exception's too strong a word, but like it acknowledges it makes it sound like there's a contradiction when there's not really a contradiction.
Exactly. Good. If that's what you meant by your first comment, you're precisely right. And that's what happens. That is edging towards one of the two. What?
Ditches on the side of the road.
Yeah. Okay. Teach us both of those ditches in one concise sentence each, Aldo.
Thinking that because things are empty, they don't exist.
Perfect. What ditch is that?
That's the nihilism.
Perfect. Nice.
Yeah. And thinking that things exist on their own.
That's not the sentence, though. Come on. Here we go. Thinking that because things exist, they have to exist self-existently.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking because things are empty, they can't exist at all.
Yeah. That's more precise. Sorry, I'm I'm very slow. I'm not feeling good today.
I know, I heard your voice.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you're tired.
Yeah, very.
Okay, I got a vibe. I was like, Aldo's tired. I'm asking all these questions to the teacher. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Aldo. Well
Thank
done.
you, Word.
You're very welcome. Okay. So not at all. We can confirm this through our direct experience of pain or pleasure. For example, by standing in front of a fast-moving taxi cab. Right? Is pleasure or pain? I'm not gonna ask Aldo. Aldo, you relax. Leah, is pleasure or pain self-existently real?
No.
Does that mean you feel any less pleasure or pain when you feel it?
No, it's precisely because they're empty that I'll feel pleasure or pain in any circumstance.
Exactly. Good. Perfect. How many are these questions? All right. Not that I want to rush the master, but it's late. Monday night. Anyway, number 8. What is the whole point of looking at the world this way? Why is this the only worldview that works? I'll tell you a story since I'm not the only one who's sleepy. I had a kung fu teacher who's very, 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 very smart. And I think the hardest working bodhisattva I know, except Geshe Michael. He's amazing. Okay, he taught me for free, for like forever. I don't know how many classes, like hundreds. He taught me Tai Chi. He taught me Kung Fu, Bagua, Shiatsu, Deep Tissue, Reiki, yoga philosophy, Buddhist philosophy, all for free. Okay. Don't worry, I gave donations, but he didn't charge me. Anyway. I forget what I was gonna say. Oh, that was it. So one day he gave me this, he started handing me these books. First book he handed me is a book called The Diamond Cutter. And I was like, oh, my friend told me about this book. It was on my book list, but my book list was long, okay? I'm a nerd. Someone told me about that book about 4 years before. I still hadn't read it. I was like, I moved it to the front of the list, okay? And I read it, and I was like, oh my God. And I forget the exact order, but I think the next book I read was The Garden. And I had the honor of being in the mountains when I was reading it. I was working in the mountains. And I was living in this cabin that had no electricity. And one second. I was living in this cabin, and it was the summer. It was the height of summer, and like, it was like July, August. Anyway, for like a week, I lived up in this cabin. At the end of every day, I would go read The Garden until the sun went down. Because when the sun went down, no more light. There was no electricity, which was fine. And but it was like retreat. It was pretty amazing. And one day I was walking and I thought about The Garden and I thought about everything I'd read. And I was like, oh my God, this is the only thing that could ever work. 2 ways. It's this worldview and understanding of karma and emptiness is the only thing that could work for 2 reasons. First of all, even if you can't get enlightened, this is still the best worldview. Because think about it. If tomorrow everyone in the world thought the only way to get was to give, how many poor people would there be tomorrow? Zero. Immediately. One day. If people thought the only way for peace was to stop violence, which is pretty understandable, right? How much war would there be tomorrow? Zero. If people thought the only way to not be lonely was to take care of a lonely person, how many lonely people would there be tomorrow? Also, zero. Right? Because all the lonely people would be hanging out with all the other lonely people, and no one would be hanging out. No one would be right? You get it? But then you can get enlightened too, so it's like a billion times better than even that. Because even if all that stuff was true, you'd still die, and who knows what would happen after that. All right? So I was walking down the street one day, and I was like, oh my God. And that was 10 years ago. I'm still finishing my courses. Okay, here we go. We can do good deeds, plant good karmic seeds, and create a Buddha paradise, angel body, and perfect mind and compassion. Reach the end of suffering, birth, aging, illness, death, as promised by Lord Buddha. Because if things weren't empty, if any single object in your world had a self nature, then you could not create a Buddha paradise. Or it would be a Buddha paradise with like this random tennis ball that was like smelly or something, like, which wouldn't be a Buddha paradise. Okay? You understand, Rivas? Did I confuse you? Hey, say. Pelota? Pelota de tenis? Con huela malo. Con huela mala. I'm just saying some random thing that's silly. Don't bother me, Rivas. It's Monday. Okay, 9. Why will suffering ultimately be eliminated in every living being? Oh, someone asked this the other day, didn't they? Who was that? Was that you, Kylie McGee? Yeah, this is the last question in the Geshe course. By the way, this course, which is course 12, right? We're reviewing course 12. Is the it's kind of the capstone of the whole ACI course, right? It's not 15. That's mind only. Okay. We love you, mind only. You're necessary to help sentient beings. I'm not dissing you, mind only. I get it. We need you. I wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for mind only, okay? I translate mind only textbooks for a living. You can imagine. Ugh. All right? But as far as middle way, as far as the worldview that we want to get out there in the world, we want people to get to, course 12 is it, because course 13 is debate. Lojong is the utilization of course 12, right? But man, Master Shantideva, chills. Because its root is a misperception of the true nature of things. Being a misperception, it's totally inferior to and powerless compared to correct view. And it's ultimately powerful antidote. You know why I think this is true? Okay. I'm from Philly, all right? I'm from the Philadelphia area. And I was born in New York area. We moved to the Philly area when I was a kid. All right. Philly's a little rough around the edges, right? So a lot of it's pretty hood, right? Philly has the biggest open air drug market in the world. Okay. Not that I have any personal knowledge of that, but just I heard it on the news. So actually, I was driving the other day. I take this back street, and I was like, "What are those guys doing on the street corner?" I was like, "Oh, okay, keep driving." It's been a while since I had to drive down those streets. So, but for real. But even if, say, drug dealing wasn't a horrible thing to do because it hurt people, right? What happens eventually to every drug dealer? I mean, even if they don't get like killed by somebody or something.
You get sick.
Not necessarily. They get caught.
They
You
like
get caught. Or you could think of like embezzlers, those like white collar crime people. They always get caught. I mean, maybe some don't, who knows, but I was always like, I'm not gonna do that stuff. Like, you're gonna get caught. I mean, you got rims on 89 Buick. I mean, the cops they're gonna figure it out. That's like emptiness. Eventually, the lie gets exposed. Yeah. Has to. Because it's a lie. And that's what happens to lies. All right. All right. 10 and 11. Here we go. 10. Give a general description of the object which the middle way denies. That is, describe what it is that emptiness is empty of, and give a metaphor for it. Okay, you have to know this. Why does Master Shantideva say you have to know the answer to this question?
this is how we understand emptiness.
Good, but even more emphatically than that, Kelly McGee.
This is the thing that doesn't exist. It is what emptiness is.
Good, you're getting there. Here, I want to add a little flavor to that. If you don't know the thing you're denying, how could you possibly deny it?
True.
It's like that. He's like, oh, you understand emptiness? Okay, what's the thing emptiness is empty of? How could you understand emptiness when you don't know what it's empty of? Right?
Mhm.
Okay. Leah, what's emptiness empty of? My roommate says, so the answer. Roommate.
It's empty of the object that could exist from its own side.
Ooh, that's right. From its own side. What does that mean? Give me. Yeah, what's that mean?
I mean, something that sort of, radiates its selfness, something that's sort of, screaming out, like Leah or word, or, or flower.
Mhm.
Yeah, something that's not dependent on projections.
Good. I like all of those. I like all of those. And depending on your audience, you might need to say any variation of those. Okay?
Oh, upaya.
Yeah, skillful means. Good. Tapsul in Tibetan. Sultap? Tapsul? Sultap? Brain. Forget which one it is. Tapsul. Okay. Let's see what Holy Geshe Michael says. The object denied by middle way. I think usually we put a the here. By middle way. I think you could do both. By middle way, gakja. That literally means the object, the ja. Here we go. The ja that you gak, the thing that you stop, don't believe in, deny. It also means choke, like choke off, like the thing you like end, is a self-existent thing. A thing which could exist without being a group of parts that we are forced by our past karma to conceptualize in a certain way. We grasp to this object continually, but it does not exist, never did exist, and could not exist. That is very, very, very important. Those three things. The Gakja does not exist, never did or will exist, and could not exist. It is like a full-size, two-headed, purple elefante in mi cuarto ahorita. Okay? It's like a huge elephant. Geshe likes to say, rampaging to this room, throwing people, crushing chairs, just destroying things. No one's looking around to see if one of those is in their room. Why not?
They don't exist.
Yeah, not only do they not exist, but they could not exist. I mean, maybe a few genetic experiments and a lot of radiation, but you know. The idea is that, but if I told you the reason your boyfriend / girlfriend, you know, novia y novio was angry at you was he didn't eat dinner. He's a little grumpy. He got bad news. He's sleepy. You'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, two-headed purple elephants in my room right now. They make sense. Okay? That's what you're saying if you believe that. Is every grumpy person angry? I mean, yeah, they are. Is every hungry person grumpy? Is what I meant. No. In English, we made a new adjective, hangry, which I love. Are you always hangry when you're hungry? No, that's why we make a new word. If hangry meant hungry, we would just say hungry. Hangry ain't hungry. All right.
I get this, but for a long time, the word deny kind of trips me up, but it's meaning that we deny it in order to understand emptiness. That's where the denial piece comes in.
Cool. I think my things ran out of juice. 1 second. No, we're saying it, we deny that it exists. Like Kelly McGee, did you kill John Smith on the night of July 14th, 1979?
No.
No, you deny the fact that you did that because you didn't.
But we're denying a self-existent object, or we're denying
we're denying the kind of object that could exist from its own side.
Right.
It's
but
a double negative.
In our day-to-day, we're not denying it. We're going around in our world. I mean, I can speak to myself.
No, exactly. If we were denying it in our day-to-day, we wouldn't need Master Shantideva.
Okay. I always, the direction of it tripped me up.
Okay. Yeah, it's a double negative.
Yeah, okay.
Emptiness is the fact that there is no object that we deny. Double negative.
There is no.
Yeah, there is no purple elephant in the room. right? Is the room empty of having a purple elephant?
Yeah.
Right. So do we deny that there's a purple elephant?
Yes.
Yeah. Do we deny that there's a gokja?
Yes.
Yeah. How many gokjas is there?
Infinite.
0. How many gokjas do we think are there?
Infinite.
How many gokjas actually exist?
0.
Yeah. So we deny that there is a thing that we deny,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. I get the concept. I think it's just the word's really.
You're saying you never killed John Smith.
Yeah, I know what denial means, but like,
I know, but it's 2 negatives. That's why you're getting tripped up.
yeah.
That's what I mean. I emphasize never, meaning it's another not. You're saying I did not ever. I did not never. I did not never. Ever never. Okay. Anyway, you got it. 11. State the famous line from the God to the Bodhisattva's way of life, which express the importance of understanding the object which you deny. Oh, okay, Kami, this is for you. You can tell how much I studied before class. One would never be able to grasp how something was devoid, okay? That's the first negative, of being a thing without encountering the thing in which one, thing it was which one imagined it to be. Right? If you don't know what murder is, you can't say I didn't murder that guy. Murder is when you like do something to someone and they die. Oh yeah, I did do that. I got confused with the vocab. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's why we talk about the gotcha. Because once you got what the gotcha is, and the gotcha is totally ridiculous. It's something that could the gotcha is someone you could look at and see every part of them all the time, every time you saw them, including every moment of their past and every moment of, yeah. Does such a person exist? But check this out. If you're, I don't know, if your mom walked in a room, Kelly, would you recognize her?
Yeah.
How long has it been since you saw your mom?
2 months.
2
2 months.
Okay, you haven't seen your mom in 2 months. Has she aged in those 2 months?
Yeah.
Okay, forget that. Have you ever seen an old picture of your mom? Just say like, I don't know how old your mom is, but she's got to be 50-ish, 60-ish, right?
Yeah, she's 65.
Okay, right. So she's 65. Have you ever seen a picture of your mom when she was like 18?
Yeah.
And you're like, who the hell is that? Right?
Yeah. I mean, she looks a lot different.
That's what I mean. If you saw 18-year-old, if 18-year-old, you know, say it's Back to the Future, she gets a DeLorean, goes 88 down Broadway, comes to your house, could you tell, and she walked up to you and said, hi, Kelly, would you be like, oh my God, Mom?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that means you couldn't recognize your mom as your mom, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Then how can you ever recognize your mom as your mom? Because how often does your mom change? Kelly?
I mean, she's constantly changing.
Yeah, because she's a
Changing thing.
yay. So then
This is another proof of emptiness among millions. I don't know millions, but there are millions. And if you Bodhisattva, you were like, give me more. Because it's good for your mind to get it from different angles. And then you can teach from many angles too. So how is it the case that you ever recognize your mom as your mom? Is it possible if she's a completely changing object that could not be recognized at any given point because of her change, ever be recognized due to her change?
Is it possible that I could never recognize her? Yeah, yes.
Is it possible that you could, well, you already said you couldn't recognize her if she was when she walked up to you. So if that's possible, how could you ever recognize her?
Oh. Would it ever be possible for me to always be able to recognize her? No.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah.
I've seen people and they're like, what? You know, people from high school, they're like, oh my God, if you hadn't said something, I would not know who you are at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because why?
Because we need the mental image part.
It's actually impossible to recognize anything or anyone as any at all. Because the parts alone do not indicate what a thing is. It's only a thing once we place the image upon it that makes it the thing to us. And that is true for your mother and, more importantly,
Me.
yeah. Right. But the mom thing helps too. Okay, let me tell you something. I was supposed to go back to my mom's house today. I couldn't because snow, but it's okay. It's a little snow day from mom. I love you, mom. All right, cool. That's it. All right. Any questions?
I noticed that there's some of the same Tibetan words in those last two questions, and I just wondered if we could go over the Tibetan.
Oh, you want to do Tibetan? Okay. Talk about what?
Collection.
Perfect. Yin.
Is that mine?
Is. So my yin is not. Okay.
Collection is not.
It is not. This is very famous. Tokpe taksam. How will do Tengdu first? Tengdu is a pawn. Like my hand is Tengdu on my other hand. Like resting upon. Okay. But in this case, we're talking about the tak. What's tak mean?
Let's see, I'm thinking of Tak Madru.
That's a different tak, isn't it? Yeah. That's reason. That's.
Is Tak added to?
Yeah, very good. Perfect. Yeah, we just did it. Taksam. This sam means only. And then talk is how you think of it. How you think of this thing. So
Collection upon added to how you think of this thing. Not how you think of this thing.
the collection of parts is the collection of parts is it does not exist the collection of part is only, I don't know how they do the mayinpa. I think it might be a, excuse me. The collection of parts is only what is added upon it by your idea of it. Yeah. Added upon it by your idea of it. I don't know why it's mayin and not yin. Oh, it's the gotcha. I'm sorry. I know exactly why. Okay, sorry. The gotcha is something that would not be only a collection of parts where the tak had been which had been added upon it due to your idea forced on you. Sorry. You get it?
Yeah, the gaksha is something. Yeah, that's a long translation.
Yeah.
For this. Yeah, the gaksha is something which would not be only a collection of parts where the idea is added to it.
I'll give you without doing it literally, because literally it's going to be longer. I'll give you a gaksha is a thing which is a collection of parts that doesn't have an image which is forced by your karma on you to see it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's saying it's something that doesn't come from karma. Placed on parts. That's what it's saying.
Okay.
Doesn't come from tak, doesn't come from your image.
Okay.
Good question. That was challenging. I figured it out though. Okay. And wait, you wanted to see how this one related?
Well, I saw a couple of the same words. I mean, there's mayin and there's takpe.
Let's do it. We'll bore everyone else, but we'll do it. Mayin. What does mayin mean? I just did it.
That means not exist.
Good. Is not. Is not. This actually doesn't mean not exist. This means not identified as. There's a different verb in Tibetan for does not exist, and that's me. Okay. Opposite of you. So tak, what's tak mean?
Add.
Perfect. Good job. This one, new means like directly in front of you or something. Facing you. Something like that. Ma, what's ma mean? Same as mayin.
Not.
Perfect. Rakbar, this is the 6th link in the wheel of life.
Is that? I mean, is that collection, or is that some way that we some way that we start discerning things?
No, it's contact. Make contact with. It's the one. That's what happens so you can feel things. You have to make contact with it so you can feel it, right? Even if it's your eye, it has to like reach the object. Teyi, teyi, that which mayin, which you do not need. Oh yeah, this is encounter. Okay, nume, without encountering it as being, as in holding to it. Okay, so here we go. This one is understood. One would never be able to rekbar, grasp, to make contact with, I believe. Grasp. Oh, sorry, cancel that. This is the grasp. This is zin. One would never be able to grasp zin without encountering rekbar, a thing it was, which one imagine it to be, takpe. Yeah. And they basically means without encountering, yeah. Without encountering that thing. Anyway, that's it. Okay.
Thanks.
Yay, stop share, end class, go to sleep. Who did the mandala? Kelly McGee? Oh wait, are there any questions really quick? Nope. All right. Fine with me. All right. Who did it? Kelly McGee, right?
Yeah.
All right, hook it up.
Sashi, Fuki, Jukshi, Neto, Tram, Rira, Blingshi, Nyende, Genpa, Di, Sange, Shingdu, Mikte, Uwargi, Jokun, Namdak, Shingla, Trupar, Sho, Iram Guru, Ratna Mandala, Kam, Niryatayami, Gewa, Di, Keu, Kun, Sunam Yeshe Tok Tok Shing. Sunam Yeshe Lejung Wei. Tampa Kuni Topar Sho.
Yay. Okay. Oh my God, I got great news today, everyone.
What?
When this class is over, the wonderful director of the Three Jewels, Rachel, I forget Rachel's last name right now. I should know it.
Rachel,
What? Oh yeah, Webb. It's on my email sometimes. I forgot it. Invited us to all be a part of a celebration they're having for finishing their ACI courses. And since we're also finishing at the same time, I said, can my students come? And she said, yeah, of course. So I guess we'll have to have a Spanish translation if everybody wants to come, but that's pretty easy. And it's going to be on February 16th at 7 o'clock in New York. So 6 o'clock in Guadalajara, I believe. I'll have Aldo sent out a invitation for everybody. Right, Aldo? Is that okay? Good. And it'll be a great way to bring our communities together, Guadalajara Sangha and the New York Sangha, who are both extremely awesome and I'm sure could learn things from each other. And I'll get the karma for that. And I'll be one of the senior teachers being asked questions in the Q&A because they think I know things. They don't know anything. They don't really know. They don't know anything. But anyway, it's going to be tons of fun. I'm just saying it now. I'll announce it again later when we're closer to being done. Okay, so that's class 4. Please study for your quiz, do your homework, do your meditations.
you know, we tried very hard to not only make a video of the Shanti Davis dedication, but to make it in Spanish. And I can't say that we've quite done that for this class, for this class right now, for you finishing teaching Shanti Deva.
Oh.
Well, the idea was there, but we couldn't quite deliver a Spanish version of Master Shantideva's dedication, but it was really fun to look up the text at the end of ACI 12. The end of the reading is that the beautiful dedication.
Yeah, it's awesome. Geshe did a whole teaching on it in the desert while he was on 3-year retreat. It's very famous in our community, at least. So amazing. Thank you for trying. Don't worry. I try to do things and fail all the time, so don't worry about it. I just put the link for the class on February 16th in the chat. It's going to be at 7:30 New York time. But I'll remind you more later, and we'll send an invitation out eventually. Okay, thank you. And as far as Master Shamdev in chapter 10, just give everyone every good thing. That's what he says at the end of the book. Even if they're not ready for enlightenment, give them cool stuff. You want to butter them up. And let me tell you something, not everyone's going to be ready in this life. So call it the long con, okay? If you're gonna, you gotta be willing to wait a few lifetimes. So you get enlightened and you'll be in bliss, so it won't be a big deal to wait like 3 or 4 lives, okay? All right, cool. All right, love you all.
Thanks, Word.
See you Wednesday. Hasta miércoles. Gracias, Rivas.
Thank you,
Gracias.
teacher.
Adios.